So we've got James here, we've got a drag university. We saw Rita just showed us the ridiculous scenes of the drag performance there at Australia House in London. We've got a drag university as well. We'll talk about that in a second, James. But Rita, thank you for showing us that appalling visual of the drag queen singing You're the Voice. But a couple of things deeply disturbed me about that. Number one, there's a line about your sons and your daughters. Where are the trans kids mentioned in that song? You know, your sons, your daughters, you know.
Oh, that is very, very heteronormative.
Yeah, very, anti-transphobic.
You guys are missing, I think, we've been campaigning and talking about this issue an awful lot on this show. And I was just very pleased to see that there were no primary school-age children in the audience there. It was only a drag queen performing for adults. So, they got that going for them.
But on the bigger issue, what really we joke and we laugh about it, but is there a better metaphor for the way the elites in Australia, this kind of transgender fluidity, virtue signalling, big corporate mob, they sit there. What had that drag queen got to do with helping those kids living in the dirt, living under abusive situations in the outback in places like Alice Springs? What has a drag queen with that ridiculous Aboriginal flag pouncing around Australia House in London got to do with helping those in the most need, urgent, dire need in rural and remote Australia? And the answer is nothing. Because the voice has nothing to do with them, nothing to do with helping those Indigenous Australians who need to be helped. It is everything to do with glitter, virtue signalling, woke garbage.
It's about empowering the activist class.
It's about the activist class and how the activist classes have taken on, everything that the activist left progressives take on, they basically got like a parasite. And they've taken drag and they've turned it into this whole sort of, thing that's part of their kind of almost
moral
religious,
universe.
Their moral universe, their religion. It's almost a religiously significant thing for them. And the great irony, of course, is that drag, which started out as this very sort of subversive, ironic sort of thing, has now become the tool of the establishment left to bully everybody else. This is so ironic and so darkly hilarious. I got no idea. But, this is the thing. For them, this whole drag culture has now become a way that they show their virtue. Once you put a drag queen out there, well, you see,
it must be good.
It's like getting blessed by the bishop.
The argument's over. The drag queen.
The drag queen is sung.
But it just shows just how divorced from reality, out of touch, this Yes camp is.
It's so elitist.
And let's not forget, because I do like to go down memory lane, when this started, and we said on this show, and I think we were alone on saying on this show, that the referendum would not pass. It was around 70% support at that point because we had the Liberals too scared, too terrified to come out. Nationals led the way. They came out first, led by Jacinta Nampijinpa-Price. 10 months later, Peter Dutton came to a firm no. And we've seen how, when you actually present the Australian public with competing ideas and an ideological debate, they are then able to make a choice. But when you've got both sides on the one page, whether it's net zero or other policy areas, well, we all lose because we're not getting that debate. And I think this hopefully does embolden the Conservatives, if there are any left in the Liberal Party, to actually have a debate, to stand up for their values, to actually articulate their positions instead of just trying to appease people who are never going to vote for them.
It's the absolute proof, which, as you said, Rita, we were there first, long before anyone else saying you must say no to the voice. It's the absolute proof that the only way you defeat the left is to fight the left. Don't pander to the left. Defeat the left by fighting the left, tackling their ideas. And the beauty, as Rita says, about The Voice is that they've tackled the ideas intellectually and found that there is nothing there intellectually behind the Yes campaign. Nothing. They've had 9 months to articulate a single idea that could help in any way advance the cause of Indigenous Australia. And what have they given us? Drag queens. Great. And aggressive race baiting from Noel Pearson and pretty much That's about it, folks. We're going to be speaking to Rowan Dean in a second. But have a look at this. You mentioned drag universities or drag culture. Here's a drag university, James, Princeton University. Tell us about it.
Well, Princeton University, so, one of the top Ivy League universities in the country. Just to go back to my point here, to say that, drag is the new divinity school here. They've now got a drag university program. I think we may have a clip of this here that we can look at, but no clip, never mind, doesn't matter, you get the idea. The point here is that this has now become, again, this elite obsession. This is, and as soon as I saw that thing happening at Australia House in London, I said, this reveals, and I wrote a column earlier in the week where I said that the whole voice thing was a complete elite obsession, that if it goes down, the elites are going to have the tantrum, the mother of all tantrums over this. And this just proved it coming out 2 days later. This, as soon as I is involved with drag, it is not subversive, it is not radical, it is the most establishment leftist thing you can imagine.